What's happening? I want to talk a little bit about the concept of worldview, and I would like to bring back something which I have discussed in the past and kind of pair the two together and see if we can come up with something from it. So the concept of worldview, I just want you to think back. Think back on what your worldview was growing up as a kid, as a young adult, going into college, entering the workforce eventually. And compare and contrast that with what your worldview currently is. How are they the same? How are they different? Even contrast your worldview growing up with your worldview as it possibly has changed or adapted over the last 3-4 years, right? With me, it's all wrapped up together. So if I'm having a conversation with somebody, or I'm trying to do something, I'm trying to take some sort of action, my worldview, the action has to align somehow, maybe not 100%, but it has to align somehow with the worldview. And if I'm having a conversation, my worldview is in every single word that I speak. It's in the pauses. It's in the cadence of the conversation. It's there. It's and if somebody is listening to me that is similar to me, then they can identify the bones of my worldview through the subtleties of speaking. So that's part one of what I'm talking about today. And part two is life as a video game. So compare and contrast your worldviews from growing up to right now, and also to the last 3 or 4 years and how things have changed. And then also add in the idea that life could be a video game. And I don't mean that in some ambiguous sense, like, oh, you can see anything as a game. No, I mean that in a very literal sense, where if you do imagine that life is a video game, then just take a regular video game analogy. When you're playing a game in this reality, a video game, and whether it's live, multiplayer live, or whether you're doing some sort of story mode, you're in a specific spot. Your body, your physical body is in a specific spot, and you are tapped into the server system, whether that be local or multiplayer online. You're tapped into that somehow through a controller, through your VR goggles, and through the screen, through visual and sound input. So you're mentally and via sound and sight, and also some physical motion, the controller can vibrate, or you can be in a chair that moves around while you're playing a racing game or something. But part of you, if the game is really good, then you kind of forget you're playing the game. As in, you're not as aware of your surroundings in your living room or your mom's basement or wherever you're playing your video game. You're not as aware of what's happening in the room, right? But your mind always knows, well, I'm playing a video game, and you might get upset if you lose, and you might feel amazing if you win, but you just always know that you're playing a game. And that is your worldview. And it's important to have that worldview. I am playing a video game. It's not real life. Right? So, compare and contrast that analogy with the same thing, but just a fully immersive 3D. You have sound, sight, taste, touch, feel. You have all the senses going on, and you're here, this being a 3D immersive video game. And continue the analogy. I have a body-mind complex somewhere that is ported into this reality field somehow, and it's relaying information back and forth to my mind in stasis wherever I'm at. Right? What would that feel like and look like if it were true? If this here actually was just a video game, and maybe not just a video game, but simply a video game, how would that change your worldview? It's an important thought experiment. Whether or not we're in a video game or a simulation or a construct or a hell realm, it doesn't matter. The fact of us being in something, in a construct, doesn't matter, really. Yes, if it's something negatively oriented or it's a prisoner of war situation, it would be helpful to figure that out. But generally speaking, you are where you are, and you should do your best to get as many details about the situation as possible to either help yourself play the game better or to live your life better. So please let me know what you think about that thought experiment, if you have thought about that. I know some of you guys have. And yeah, how's your worldview changed over the course of your life up into this current insane situation? Thank you. Peace!